So the founding vision, if you will, the company was founded by 3 individuals up in Montreal in Canada. They had sold their previous company to Samsung, and it really became the backbone for Samsung ads. So they had the opportunity to sort of scale out their engineering organization at Samsung up to sort of 300 or 400 engineers, and really started to sort of understand what it took to build, a big globally scaled ad tech platform. And then as part of that, they saw a couple of things happening. One was the rise of privacy legislation, GDPR and similar types of legislation in markets around the world. And then 2 were the demise of device identifiers like cookies and device IDs. So I think they really understood that there was this sort of like almost a once in a generation opportunity to really think about how to rewire the ecosystem, the digital marketing ecosystem. So that was sort of what really inspired the vision behind Optable, and they set about building a platform to address that.
Tell us a little bit about your recent partnership with Snowflake.
Yeah, sure. So our partnership with Snowflake, I think, is pretty exciting. We just announced it a few days ago, and started to see some great coverage around it. So we really believe that for data clean rooms to get adopted within the ecosystem between brands and publishers and data providers, we really think interoperability of clean room infrastructure is key for that. So, we have sort of built this integration with Snowflake such that a company using Optable, let's say for example a publisher or a media owner, CTV provider for example, that uses Optable, can invite an advertiser that uses Snowflake to execute a secure match operation, understand the overlapping audience, without that advertiser having to move their data out of Snowflake, and without that advertiser having to be an Optable customer. So it's a pretty exciting jump, we think, in terms of what really enabling what true interoperability looks like within the ecosystem.
We've heard a lot about data clean rooms this year, particularly in the IAB's recent report. Why are they getting so much attention right now? What's so important about that trend?
Well, I think that there's probably 2 or 3 really key reasons why clean rooms are getting so much attention. One, of course, is the idea of privacy preservation, right? Like, I think brands especially are really cottoning on to the idea that they have to respect the data that their consumers entrust them with. Now in Europe, for example, and I live in the UK, in Europe that's enshrined in law, so you are legally obligated to. In America, that's starting to change, the legal framework is starting to change and evolve, but I think even if you set aside the legal framework, brands in this country are really realizing that they have a trust relationship and a social license, if you will, with their users. And I think that the preservation of that data and maintaining the sanctity and the privacy of it is really, really important. And I think that's one reason why clean rooms are becoming, such a huge part of the narrative or the vocabulary, if you will.
Can you talk a little bit about the differences between the demand and the supply side in this context?
I can, yeah. I think that there's, if you talk about the supply side first, right? What I hear from a lot of publishers is that, they kind of want to lean back a little bit, take their time in terms of clean room adoption. And I hear all the time, well, I want to wait for an advertiser to come to me and say, this is the clean room that I want to use. And then, that publisher will then go out and adopt that clean room. We really are trying to let publishers know that they need to lean forward a little bit more. They need to think about picking a partner that enables interoperability with different types of clean room infrastructure. And publishers really have to start thinking about this stuff now. Legal, compliance, how they're going to price it. Like, they're really creating a new product. And they're creating a product that is going to enable secure data matching with their advertisers. And they really have to think about all of the things that are involved in building and launching and taking that product to market. I think for advertisers and brands, it's a little bit different. They're making decisions on the data infrastructure side. They're working with Snowflake, with Databricks, with Oracle. These are the companies that have traditionally been housing and warehousing the brand's data. They don't necessarily want to move that data out of those data warehouses. And then what we've seen with AWS and with Snowflake and others is they're building clean room infrastructure directly attached to these data warehousing systems.
In terms of adoption, what are some of the biggest obstacles you're seeing out there, and how do you overcome them?
Well, I think one of them is interoperability, which we talked about a little bit. I think that is one of the biggest barriers to adoption. I think scale, and a lot of people just not understanding if they have enough first-party data, how do they organize and orchestrate that data in the right way to get it ready for matching? So I just think that there's a lot of, I'll call it data janitor work that people have to do before they think they can get their data into clean rooms. But there are solutions to those problems as well. If you look at what companies like Newstar and Axiom and Experian are doing, they're adapting their identity graphs and their identity spines in ways that they can increase the scale or solve the scalability problem, if you will, and increase the match scale within data clean rooms. So there's a lot of innovation that's happening in the ecosystem right now. So I think those problems are going to be addressed, and I think you're going to see, there's no question in anyone's mind that you're going to see mass adoption in the next 12 to 18 months.
What are some of Optable's goals for 2023?
So we're really focused on the supply side of the ecosystem. We think it has to start with publishers and media owners. So we think enabling publishers and media owners with clean room infrastructure that's interoperable, that supports secure activation, that's a huge, huge strategic pillar for us. We want to continue to educate on the advertiser side and the brand side, but we don't necessarily want to rush in and start spending a lot of time trying to sell our product to brands today. It's not our number one priority. We think that the decisions that they're making on the data infrastructure side are probably more important for them right now. And we'll enable interoperability between our system on the supply side and those existing data warehousing systems on the brand side.